it comes to music. Peace and blessings, everybody. Everybody, peace and blessings.
Greetings and salutations.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm Inyaze Vincent, and I am legally married and spiritually bonded and genetically committed to the person sitting next to me, who is
very excited that they're gonna air Ava's short film August 28th, A Day in the Life of the People, that plays at the Natural History of African American Museum of Culture or whatever.
That's not bad.
It's gonna play on own. I am Melissa.
Wow.
That's not bad.
I just saw that and I kept thinking like, damn, how would I ever see that if I don't get to the museum? Well, should have known Auntie Oprah was gonna come through.
Auntie.
But yes, I'm Melissa. I'm the other half of Woke with Kids.
And we have as a special guest, friend of the show and brother podcaster, my man's all the way back day one. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Absolutely.
Mr. Al Billups. Mr. Al Billups. Yay!
What's going on? Always love being on the show that gave birth to our show. We come from Bad News with my brother and my sister in life. How y'all doing? What's happening?
Everything is beautiful, man. Everything is beautiful. Although it seems like I might have accidentally
not hit record.
No, that finally is going correctly, but I might have accidentally deleted our live cast. That is possible.
I didn't miss nothing yet.
Yeah, that's
no
true.
Big deal.
No big deal. So
yeah, we were just getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, how you been, Al? It's been a minute since we've spoken. How is life treating you? Is everything okay? Are you Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Good.
Yeah?
And listen, man, it is what, 1:50 a.m. here on the East Coast after a very productive day on all fronts. I even got me a run-in today or whatever.
Hey.
So it has been a good, energetic day. I'm good. I'm in real good spirits right now, literally as well as figuratively. Everything is good. I'm on a call with my people. I mean, I can't ask for anything more. Let the conversation flow.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's really nothing else that I've had. Actually, it seems like maybe this cast is going live, and I'm just not seeing it. But that's fine. So there's a lot to talk about this week. A lot has happened.
Yeah.
Politically speaking,
yeah.
To say the least, the very, very, very least.
A lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a president currently, technically speaking. He exists as a. So there's a lot to talk about this week.
Oh my goodness, what is happening?
Oh wow, it's the politically. The thing is eating his tail. That happens sometimes. Okay, so that was just our live cast, intruding on our live cast. That's like the metaverse. Oh my god. So Trump. Let's just talk about Trump at first. Trump is the president of the United States, technically speaking.
Yeah, that's what they tell me.
Maybe not for much longer.
But possibly.
The way this week went.
Possibly for not much longer. Apparently, your man's in them, your president, the Orange Cheeto, his peoples had some bad news this week. I won't even say the Orange Cheeto, but his peoples had some problems. Paul Manafort.
Well, yeah. Cheeto himself,
just
too.
A few problems this week.
The homie that's no longer the homie. If you need a lawyer, don't call this guy. That guy. But before it was like his ace.
Ghostbusters.
Said at the direction. They're consistent on the language. On the direction of this guy here, number 45, I did X, Y, and Z. So that's the closest it's come to anyone being like, that motherfucker told me to do the shit that y'all are saying is illegal. I didn't know at the time. And I'm just saying, I only did it because he told me to, because he was my boss at the time. So what you want to do?
Thank you.
Paul Manafort.
It's not my fault. I was just doing as I was.
Right. So Paul Manafort was the campaign manager, convicted of 8 or 10? 8 felony counts.
8 total.
Mostly related to misleading tax forms, some fraud, not filing tax forms, subterfuge, using tax law and tax forms, and they didn't really mostly mistrials on the fraud part. Is that correct?
That's correct. I basically think of it. I like to translate it loosely as white man looting.
They got Al Capone. They got Al Capone.
Me to the punch. I was going to say your typical white crimes.
They got Al Capone on tax evasion.
Yeah, 1,000%. And also, the irony of this is the Michael Cohen part of this is that
that's the lawyer. Trump's the lawyer.
I wish that I had an assistant nearby who I could tell to go run the tape somewhere, but I am almost 1,000% sure that on some earlier episode of Woke with Kids, I said it's not going to be this Russia shit. It's going to be the motherfucking porn star that brings down Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? I just had a feeling deep in my heart.
Right? It's poetic.
I saw a headline saying that Democrats and everyone on the Hill has a chance to really hold Lindsey Graham being like, so basically the standard you set for impeachment with Bill Clinton, messed it around on your wife with X, Y, and Z.
Didn't even have to be convicted of a crime.
As grounds, like, if that's what we going by, then as per your email,
did you get the memo?
We need to roll out on your man's here.
I think you need to check your email. Your inbox got some receipts in it. I mean,
it's about that time.
He said even without proof of a crime that you could prosecute a president. That's what he was saying back in the day. Also, coincidentally, Michael Cohen used to have a tweet that had a prediction
for Hillary
that Hillary Clinton would be enjoying free room and board in prison when she was convicted.
Those are always the dead giveaways. You know how they roll. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people reposting it.
He deleted it.
I can find it. I know. There's a lot of screenshots.
That's right. They screenshotted it because he deleted it today after he confessed to paying off Stormy Daniels at the behest of a presidential candidate for the purposes of influencing an election. So, I mean,
Hillary Clinton, when you go to prison for defrauding America and perjury, your room and board will be free.
So how does this all wash out?
12/19/2015.
You want to know how it washes out, Al? That's what you want to know?
How does this all wash out? Like, I mean, we always have something that comes up or some sort of scandal or anything like that. We've got Teflon 45. How does all this wash out for Teflon 45?
All right, here's the thing, is that, first of all, you got to understand, because he is the president and he has unlimited pardon powers for federal crimes, he can 1,000% pardon Paul Manafort as a reward for loyalty, as some, whatever. That would be the only thing. That would be the one thing that he would do that for. But he could do that. But he could do that, and there's nothing that any other branch of government could do to stymie that. The problem comes in that Robert Mueller is a smart ass motherfucking white dude who really knows the law. He's a prosecutor, and if black people know anything, it's that prosecutors, if they want to make you guilty, they will make your ass guilty, right?
He's got so much more. You know what I mean? Got so much more. If this is what he's come out with, it's so airtight that he has so much more. And Michael Cohen said, his lawyer said, even if Trump tried to give me a pardon, I wouldn't even take the motherfucker. That's what Cohen said. I wouldn't
that's
even
when you know somebody got something good.
Well, you know what that is?
I said, what? You're not taking a pardon. What the fuck is going on here?
Not that Trump would offer Cohen a pardon, because Cohen is going offside. Cohen
that's what Trump was like. He's a bad lawyer. 40 years later.
You know what I'm saying? He jumped all the way
after he collected himself. After he collected himself, because the day that Cohen confessed, he had a rally in West Virginia where he ain't say shit about it. He say shit about it. But the key thing,
I'm laughing with glee. I have to.
No, it's a key. It's a key moment. It's definitely a moment of celebration, because we've up until this point it seemed like you cannot cut God, but now we're seeing this motherfucker bleed, politically speaking. And what we're looking for here now is that the federal charges are good. they expose him to a lot of doubt, especially a couple of months out from the midterms. This can cast a cloud that Democrats can milk, although they're exhibiting their typical tepidness in terms of really going for the jugular. They're already distancing themselves from words like impeachment, while the Republicans are leaning into it, and they're very much talking about, like, if you elect the Democrats, they're going to impeach Trump. I think that's something the Democrats should be leaning into. I think that makes good television. I think that's what America is all about, and that's what they should be doing right now. But
it's true. Use Trump's own tactics against him.
This is what it is now.
That's how he got up.
This is what it is now.
Shit.
This is what it is now.
He was ruling the TV.
It's entertainment.
It's Julius Caesar time, baby.
It's Julius Caesar.
Mark Anthony and Brutus was like, hey, everybody was like, we talking now?
What we're looking for is state charges, though. The federal charges Trump can dodge. It would be a gross misuse of power. It's something that might expose him to further charges or investigation by Robert Mueller if he tried to obstruct justice in that way. But really, at this point, the only thing that can get Trump out of this motherfucker is Congress, Senate. They have to impeach him. If they don't impeach him, there's really nothing. That's the only check that we have built into the government. So this election is incredibly important. The stakes of this election are essentially that. Do we want Trump to be president anymore? I mean, that is really what the election. I mean, we could dance around it. But what I was saying before is that if the states charge any of these people, that's something that the president can't pardon. The president can't pardon state charges. So the fact that they've been charged in New York, and the fact that a lot of these crimes expose them to prosecution by the New York authorities is telling. It's very telling that Robert Mueller chose this particular place to.
Well, also, I think that's where most of their business was done.
That exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it's there. Yeah. But Manafort has charges in Virginia.
That too.
Coming up.
That too.
Also, all of the 10 counts that came up of mistrial, he can be retried for.
Right.
So prosecutors have decided, okay, we going after him again, or we just going to let these other ones in Virginia handle it, or he already going to prison for the rest of his life. So what you want to do? We kind of have some options.
Choose your own adventure.
So I guess it comes down to the question of this before we kind of move on. Do you really think it's going to happen? Do we really think it's going to come to fruition, or do you think that he's going to just, sidestep it as he seems to do everything? Do you think it's actually going to happen?
I don't think he's going to get impeached.
I think, I don't know if he's going to get impeached, but I do have a sliver of hope that the Democrats are going to take back the House.
I think we will have a surge,
and that we will have at least legitimate inquiries into whatever the fuck is going on, and that even if we don't impeach the president, there will at least be some sort of check against this sort of unbridled nationalism and xenophobia.
I think what we can really hope for is that Democrats take back the House, and or we elect a lot of Democratic governors.
Yep.
State prosecutors, etc., and really begin to undermine white supremacy at the heart of American government and its institutions.
Yep.
And hopefully whatever continues to come out with Mueller's investigation and the midterms and all of that, we can basically hem him up for the remainder of his 2 years.
Yes,
that's how
exactly.
the shit works. Slow
exactly.
and just blockage.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So that's really, there's no other way. It's not going to be this dramatic. Like, it won't play out in the end as this broadcast TV impeachment. We did that, trials and Iran-Contra, all that. We're not doing that this time. We're not. We didn't do that really that much before. Even with Hillary and Benghazi, like, you had to go to the political news channels.
Yeah.
So we're not going to play out no impeachment, but I think if played correctly and we continue to not just say, oh, good, we did that, let's relax, but continue to support the organizations and people on the ground and community organizations that have been fighting for justice all this time, we can make some progress. And hopefully when the next presidential election comes around, who the fuck would we even elect on the Democratic side? I don't know. But we have a lot more progressive people fighting for justice and inclusion and equality and economic justice and education and healthcare and all the things that some basic fundamental rights that hopefully we can address. Oh, and immigration as well.
Boom.
Not just at the federal level, but state and local.
Exactly right. So, all right.
Church.
So that church, exactly. So that's Trump. That's what he'd be doing. That's what's been going on. It's fantastic. I love to see this kind of drama play out. I personally do have a sliver of hope that we are just as wrong about Trump's impeachment as we were about Obama's election, and that we get to see some blood on the dance floor. The only thing is that then we would be stuck with President Pence, and
that's not a better option. So we're just going to see how Who Wants to Be a President season 46 plays out, sir.
Pretty much. Okay.
Season 46. I like that.
All right.
For real, man.
So here's a headline that came to me. I don't know what you guys on your mind, but another headline that came out of nowhere was Asia Argento, girlfriend of recently deceased food impresario Anthony Bourdain was
she's also an actress and a director and a writer.
Yes.
An accomplished artist. She's not just somebody's girlfriend. Sorry, just have to say that.
No, that is why you're here, to keep us in line. Keep it hold it down.
Let us keep us of her artistic credentials, her outside of just being a significant other. Go ahead, sir.
She is also significant for being one of Harvey Weinstein's early accusers. She said she was raped during the Cannes Film Festival in France in 1997 when she was 21. But apparently she was accused by a guy, a young man
actor
who was 17 at the time, and she was 37, of sexual harassment, assault.
And just to give a little background, they met when he was like 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
He played her son in a movie, a very dramatic movie about a mother-son, and she was all like on drugs or whatever. So, and she was like a mother figure, and they kept in touch over the years, and so they had a close relationship. But it was motherly, sonly, as far as per this young man. So, when he was 17, they were having a reunion. He met her at the hotel. She told his whoever adult person that was with him to leave, and then sexual things happened, and he was underage.
Yeah, and then they worked out some sort of
agreement, settlement,
a settlement where some money exchanged.
Obviously, he was had issues, troubles making sense of what had happened to him, and the inappropriateness and all of that, and he was unable to continue working as an actor. So I feel the bulk of the settlement was that, like, loss of wages and the mental and emotional support that he now needs to grapple with what happened to him and all of that. So she paid him $800, what was it? Almost $400,000 in various payments to settle this, but she didn't make him sign like an NDA or anything like that.
That's right.
Because, the lawyers were like, that's really being hypocritical.
Yeah.
And so she didn't.
That's right. And also in fairness, she characterizes the exchange as the young man was in financial duress and that no sexual contact happened. So I just want to be clear. She says nothing happened, but the young man made these demands because he was in financial distress, and out of charity and kindness, her and her husband gave him this money. So that's her. That's her story. That being said, the real story here is that she was one of the key early voices of Me Too, and so obviously the media, not people, because people are smarter than that, I think. But
it's gonna definitely dilute that whole cause.
Well, yeah, that was the story. The idea was, does this invalidate any of what this woman is saying? Right. And Tarana Burke, who is the founder of the Me Too movement, came out, pretty definitively to say no, it does not. In fact, this is evidence that the movement is working as expected, as intended, because this young man should be heard too, and that any victim of sexual assault should be believed and supported. And it's not really a man-woman thing; it's a survivor thing.
And specifically, the Me Too movement is not primarily about prosecutions and criminal, holding them criminally accountable through the justice system.
Right.
They are about the victims, supporting the survivors, and raising awareness to move towards reduced harm towards all people in all places.
Exactly.
So that's, I think, also a key part of why she was like, no, because technically that's not what Me Too is about. It's not about charging somebody so-and-so for what they did. It's about, this is what happened, and this young man needs to tell his story. We need to offer him support. As I said, believe him and offer him support. And hopefully this continues to encourage not only other survivors to possibly come out if they want to share their story, but hopefully deter these predators from continuing to inflict these crimes and this harm, because they will be exposed.
That's right. That's right.
No, I like her statement on it, and I feel like that makes a lot of sense in terms of what they're saying. So I agree, it's working the way it's supposed to. So I got no issues with that.
Well, amen, hallelujah. All right, let's move on. There's a lot to cover. There's a lot to talk about. Here's one a little bit lighter. All right, a little bit lighter.
Right.
A little bit lighter. You guys like YouTube. I like YouTube. YouTube is awesome. We all love YouTube. So there's a YouTube star named Laura Lee, who recently has been exposed, because this is the new wave, is digging up old tweets. Apparently, way back in the ancient days of Twitter, people was wild racist for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why everybody was so mad racist back. Like, was it that long ago?
I just think it was. Back in the earlier days, we used to call Twitter the after party for Facebook. So there was always just wildness out there.
Apparently,
it was just like they just didn't care. They just would put out whatever random thoughts. To this day, people still just go on Twitter and just say something crazy. It's just kind of the place to let it all out.
So now this young woman, who apparently had a flourishing YouTube career,
her tweets are disgusting.
She had over 5 million subscribers. Has been exposed from racist tweets she made back in 2012. 4 years after Obama was elected, she tweeted, "Niggas in Paris, what? I thought they couldn't afford to leave Compton. LOL." Okay, this is another great one. Here's another. This is very, very sensitive. How do you blindfold a Chinese person? Very original. Put floss over their eyes.
But wait, go back. But what's crazy? But look, what really gutted me on that tweet in particular? # dumb gook.
Whoa! Wow!
What?
I didn't even see that. Wow!
What?
I didn't even see that part.
I mean,
that's not cool.
Wow.
That's not cool at all.
Like, it's not even like it really leapt from a racist joke. Maybe like you could almost try. Like, is she trying to be funny?
Is she trying
But then
to be
with
funny?
the hashtag, it's like, oh, you
don't mean to be funny at all.
You're just
being mean.
Super fucking racist. You're mean and fucking racist.
You're a horrible person, is what you are. Yeah.
Then I guess there was some body shaming tweets, which also wasn't a good look. And she's, that's.
So she hit all the categories.
Yeah,
racist and body shaming. She just got all of it in one.
You hear children?
Just an offensive stream of consciousness.
Continuing to give Alabamians a bad name.
So she. In a newly minted tradition,
she deactivated her Twitter.
She also made an apology.
She on YouTube.
And I want to play.
You have to apologize after you deactivate your Twitter. You know the handbook. You know what
I'm saying. So I want to play a little bit of this wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Oh God.
Apology.
She already crying. These
talk
fucking
to you guys
white tears. I'm not
in
here
this
for
video.
it.
It's been so long.
Because you got caught up, bitch. You were exposed.
Oh, this is playing. This is not playing.
These people never consider how. This is how they try to make people feel all the time with your words. Like, bitch, what do you expect? That karma is gonna come back to you. Like, you put this out there. We just read it.
With your words.
Indeed, you said it. That's how you felt.
And you didn't care how it made anyone else feel. You didn't care how it made anyone who could remotely identify
I'm
with.
so sorry for disappointing you.
I'm sorry.
Done. You better cut that shit off. I cannot watch this.
Come
All
on.
I hear is the tears. I hear the tears.
Y'all don't.
It's pissing me off. It's making me mad.
Y'all don't.
Yeah,
Y'all don't-
it is irritating because it's like, okay, well, if you were that emotional about it, then why did you say it in the first place? No, you felt that way.
You're
That's what
just
came
mad
out.
because now we hate you.
Okay.
We don't like you
I'd rather
anymore.
you just go straight. Yeah, just be straight with me. Listen, that's just how I felt at the time. Maybe
I
that
have
wasn't.
evolved.
I apologize.
Right.
Yeah, I've got better since then. I've sought out therapy. I'm a little bit better now. I'm less racist. My apologies. Let's move on with life.
This is
I can
why
live with that.
she's the dumb bitch, because take a page from the white people playbook. All these white people getting hemmed up. What all the directors saying, everyone, even Louis C.K., I'm going to rehab. My bad. I have evolved. I've grown. I'm not that person now that I was then. I was trying to be funny. It was in bad taste. It's all there. It's been like a year.
It's a handbook. It's out there.
It's out there. That's why I'm not here for her bullshit tears. Cry and then come back. Shit, I just
Wow, you got really emotional. Tell me how you really feel, honey.
She did.
She pulled the damn microphone out of the mouth. She just like, I will choke this bitch like this microphone stand.
Mel the rock star. She pulled the mic on. Let's go.
I'm sorry. I am not here for the white woman tears no more.
I see you. Yeah. I like it.
So let's swerve out of the dark side into some positivity, something nice. Okay, let's start to get to some nice stuff. You guys have put up with enough bullshit. We celebrated the president's demise. We talked about this white girl. Let's talk about a very, very important, very important problem going on in the black community that we need to talk about. And it's especially, it's not just the black community, it's everybody. It's a problem of poverty, and it's not funny, but it is funny, but it ain't funny. It's not funny because it is funny to kids, and it's what we talking about is stanky children. Okay, we talking about stanky children. We talking about children who might by circumstance or bad fortune be homeless or not have access to clean water and laundromats and things of this nature.
Right.
But they still got to go to school, and you know what the kid's going to do when that kid come to school? They're not going to say
it's going to be a rough day.
Come on now. They're not going to say hey man, you smell like you might be going through some things.
Yeah.
No. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say, why you smell? No. So we got to shout out this dude in New Jersey, a principal installed a laundry room to help bullied students. Okay.
I think I remember hearing something.
You hear about this?
That a couple times.
That's amazing. Go ahead,
bro.
Couple schools will do that.
Akbar Cook, principal of Westside High. Dear East Side.
This is, I guess, the West Side.
Right. Dear West Side. Okay. High school in Newark created a laundry room in the Newark created a laundry room at the school for students who were being made fun of for wearing dirty clothes, per ABC News. Cook said he noticed that many of the students were skipping school to avoid being criticized for their hygiene.
Yeah, I've heard about that before.
Real talk. The principal discovered that
it makes sense.
Listen, it's all about peer pressure at that age. The principal discovered that one of his students was homeless after she didn't want to get her bag checked. She reportedly was ashamed of carrying dirty clothes to the school. So Cook turned the football team's locker room into the laundry room. Okay.
God bless him.
Okay. Once news broke that Cook was helping the students, the local community donated laundry detergent and dryer sheets to the school so students didn't have to pay for it themselves. Students will be able to use the laundry room services 3 days a week starting August 27th. That's amazing.
Finally some good news.
That's amazing. That's, little things like that, man.
Great news.
That's something he could affect. He affected it. He changed it. It is what it is. Amen. All right.
Yeah, that's the community helping the community, and that's what it's all about. That's a great story right there. I hope that spreads.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry to go back to politics.
No, go ahead.
It's a little cross right now, or as I'm sure we're going to head into culture soon, but we didn't talk about Omarosa.
Oh shit!
And her and her attempt at a triumphant turn.
This is the perfect transition. That's a perfect transition. I
love how
Omarosa.
Charles M. Blow has an Instagram
who I
page.
love,
I
adore.
love him too.
He is my boyfriend in the head.
Basically, he posted about her going on NBC with the meme Omarosa out here trying to earn back her invitation to the picnic. The community is having none of it.
Not a bit.
She advocating for justice reform, civil rights. There's so many things happening in this administration while they were trying to dismantle one by one every accomplishment that President Barack Obama did.
That part.
I wanted to make sure that I was in there too.
Oh, you did?
Oh, that's what you wanted to do?
Worked for, and so yeah.
So that he has
it was difficult for us to feel like she was doing all that at the time, because none of these types of words or phrases or initiatives poured out of any speeches that I heard from Omarosa as the checks were flowing. But soon as the checks stopped and there was some issue, now we want to be woke. She deserves the get the fuck out of here award.
I know. Are we fucking idiots? I can't believe that she would say that. I mean, when her doing shit like that, I see why her and Trump got along in the first place. They both have that bullshit belief that you can use the power of the media to make people believe anything, no matter what really happened. And that's why he liked her, and that's why she liked him. She tried to learn the game up close till he turned on her. But she is using the skills she learned to make her money. They were saying how some of the headlines were how, you know, Omarosa is quote unquote winning in her own weird way because she's trying to write a book. And by Trump tweeting and replying to what she's saying only raises her profile and the publicity needed to sell more copies of the book than she might have sold before.
Which still is
she still can't come to the cookout though.
Which
Fuck
still
her,
isn't
but
at
go
the
ahead,
top.
make your money, girl.
It still ain't at the top of the bestseller either. I will say this because I am a forgiving person. I will accept Omarosa. She can live at the hinterlands of Wakanda. She can help herd the goats.
Yeah, right. She can't live in the hidden city. She can be out.
She can be, but she can be amongst. Yes,
she can be out when the foreigners arrive and they're like, they ain't shit here.
Ain't shit here. She
can
live,
talk to her.
Yes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean,
Wakanda is giving us so many metaphors, really, for this. Type
I don't know. It's still.
All right, so we put Omarosa in the outskirts of Wakanda.
Yeah,
and I think I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, because I would never abandon a sister. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the bluest eye. You know what I'm saying? You can't judge the protagonist for being obsessed with having blue eyes. You just understand. You know what I'm saying? Read some Toni Morrison, y'all. Get some goddamn compassion.
On top of that, let's get philosophical. It goes back to the whole enemy of my enemy is my friend. Now that she pretty much has said, okay, he's an enemy, I'm going to go in and go for self.
Truth.
Well, now she gets a chance to pull out all these wonderful receipts that we already knew were there. So for that, we thank you.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Thank you. Exactly. You may not get a celebration, but okay, well done. Yeah. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do.
Keep pouring that tea, Omarosa. Keep pouring that tea.
That's right. That's right. So this is a short one. We ain't really got to get into it, but I just thought it was funny because it reminded me of a Richard Pryor skit where Richard Pryor went to Africa and he got off the plane. He looked around and he said, "You know, the funniest thing, I looked around and I ain't seen no niggas." No niggas anyway.
Niggas. Yeah, I remember that.
And after that, he didn't use nigga in his routine no more. Well, anyways, Trump's America is making America great again. We're making America great again, and we're exporting greatness all over the world. So a white American citizen was arrested in, of all places, Uganda, for assaulting hotel workers and calling them, of all things, the N-word.
Yeah, I saw that video, and just like everybody else, I was totally enraged by that. Those people deserve awards for the amount of restraint that they had.
Oh my God.
Him just
he would put the block up and then he was just like this. He was like, I better hold my arms.
You saw what happened to the lady on the bus. The lady on the bus, it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
The only thing the only explanation for this is that because these gentlemen are African and hence have grown up their entire lives in a place where the word nigger means as much to me as the word cuck to these alt-right people now. That's their new insult. You a cuck. I'm like, I don't know what that is. That has no effect on me. In the same way that he was trying to insult these black men, they probably looked at him with such pity and sadness that they were like, we cannot hurt this crazy white man. He doesn't understand that there are no niggas here.
Exactly. Call me a coffer boy. Then I'll be ready to get at you. I'll put them beats on you.
Even that, they in Uganda, my man. I mean, I'm talking about the blackest place.
But this is the other thing that's crazy to me. This guy, Jimmy L. Taylor, is claiming he's in Uganda for missionary work.
Jesus.
This is when it gets really to the heart of this bullshit. So supposedly they were disgracing Jesus. So he decided to disgrace them.
Of course, because that's what Jesus would do.
That's what Jesus.
He can be heard screaming "fuck Uganda" at one point, going on to say, "I've come to love Uganda. I've come to help Uganda." Oh, you just.
Oh, sorry.
There's Uganda, the scripture of "fuck you" and
but
Jesus.
Uganda hates Jesus through this son of a bitch. Like, you mean yourself? You mean yourself, right? Because you're the only son of a bitch right up in here right now. Everyone else is like, what's up with the crazy guy? And this is why more and more around the world we're like, this is Jesus. This is what Jesus is about. Well, we want no part of it.
We don't want.
I mean,
not this version.
And literally on a missionary trip, like traveling to give this message.
Yes.
Traveling to give this message.
He brought American Jesus right on back to Uganda. How about that? And we saw how that worked out.
According to the Kampala Post, Taylor told the police he was a missionary and a former Marine. He claimed the incident was stress-induced due to an undisclosed illness.
Oh, was he on Ambien like Roseanne?
I thought the bitch was white.
I thought the bitch was white. You gotta get lower.
I thought the bitch was white.
It was the Ambien. It was he had popped a pill or two, and that stuff makes you racist. So, yeah.
Right, exactly. The side effects include rabid racism, rabid.
You know what? It's sad. But it's sad, but also looking at it as well, it hopefully is a reminder of what we people of color here in America deal with, that they can see that sickness went right over there to that other country and pretty much tried to kind of keep it moving there. 1,000%. And hopefully they recognize, wow, these people in America are really going through it, because this is the type of individual that they have to deal with on a regular basis.
I would hope as well that continues to build the solidarity in the community, not just amongst African descended people in the diaspora, but all people of color, because we're all getting treated like that somewhere.
Yes.
Women, different.
It's funny that you mention that, because I there's an article that Awesomely Lovey, which is a blog I like, just published an article on blackness, Africanness, and what is black enough, and her experiences, of course, of being she's from Nigeria, and she moved to America when she was 9. And of course, when you came to America back in those days, we had a very familiar greeting for you. You were African booty scratcher, which was
unfortunately,
which was some black self-hatred shit that was incepted into us through like hours of Tarzan. And
what was that movie, like The Gods Must Be Crazy or something? I feel like that had just come out in the 80s, or Oh God, you know what I mean? Where it was like
all of that shit was basically
and then
about,
we only had like Shaka Zulu to counter it, but we didn't really understand. I didn't really understand. I was like, wait, what? Because I was 8 years old, so it was still a nebulous, vague depiction of Africans, and they were all somehow living in the jungle, and there weren't modern cities, and you never saw like a grocery store and like the kids going to school. So,
and they were literally scratching their booties, but they were scratching their booties in the I just remembered, in the old Bugs Bunny style cartoons. That's where you'd always see the tribesmen with the big white lips. They do
that as well with Native Americans. They were always doing war calls.
Yeah, the evolution in terms of how we were depicted was not as involved as we see today. Yeah, exactly. You're right. It was definitely in its more infancy, or you should say caveman stages.
So we were very racist against African, especially the youth. But Caribbean as well, Yes,
we
my
were
sister went through a very difficult experience.
Absolutely. Basically, black people had a chip on his shoulder because we felt like, I'm sorry, not black people, Frederick Douglass black people. We felt like y'all motherfuckers just got here. They treat y'all nicer for some reason just because y'all say y'all West Indian or African or something, and somehow they give y'all a different status than us. We just niggas has been here. But the article and that's what a lot of Black Panther was about that reconciliation of those two polarities. But the article that Lovey wrote was pretty much in that vein, and talking about like the Africans needed to acknowledge, instead of judging, Black Americans needed to acknowledge that the only reason they could come over and succeed was because of the blood, sweat, and sacrifice that had been put in for 400 years by the motherfuckers that got sold in the first places.
The cotton pickers.
The cotton pickers. There you go. The motherfucking cotton pickers. There you go. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the difference right there,
Church.
Al.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right?
It's true.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That's the difference. The cotton pickers.
Yeah.
We
Cotton
from the
pickers.
soil, bro. I was born in South Carolina in the cornfield, so I am descendant of those people directly.
You cannot. Yeah, I completely
That's
agree
the differentiator.
100%. Because my family's West Indian, and I say the same thing. I'm like, you cannot. And I've been here since birth. I was born here, but was raised in another culture, another Black culture, and there is no way you can look if you can know the history of the United States of America and the African slaves that were brought here and the traumas that have been inflicted since then generationally, and then say, oh, it's because the victims didn't do this and that. I was reading listening to this great podcast. This girl was like, I'm not a victim, I'm victorious. And that is really the only lens. I mean, it's victory over all the shit that happened. I mean, it was bad everywhere. Oppression is bad and terrible everywhere. But when you know so much specifically about where you live and the people that look like you, it's deep. So, I feel like it always has to come back to love. If you love yourself as a Black person and you know the history, then you have to find a way to extend love to all Black people.
That's right.
Wherever they're at, because
and it's easy.
They didn't get to their level of whatever you're judging them for on their own.
Damn right. It's easy to love the beautiful parts of ourselves.
Right.
The effort is in
like
love.
Everybody else, the music and the TV. No.
Yeah, we also have to learn to embrace.
Damn, Al, the cotton pickers, man. That shit stuck.
And it has to go both ways as well.
Yeah.
And it's just part of the evolution. But speaking of African excellence, Kofi Annan passed away.
Rest in peace.
I didn't believe it. I was like, wait, that's real?
Wow. Damn.
I was like, is that real?
Yeah, I saw that come across. Because I did too at first. I was like, is that real? But then I saw it kind of trending on Twitter and some other places. And I was like, wow, man, we lost a soldier. We definitely
all the peacemakers. All the peacemakers are leaving the globe. All the peacemakers.
United Nations Secretary General for almost like 10 years?
Yes.
And knew Nelson Mandela.
He had been there so long doing so much. We just got spoiled with his presence there,
received the Nobel Peace Prize. Oh my goodness!
A lot of great ones are leaving, man. Aretha leaving.
Oh gosh, I know.
Kofi Annan. Who's the third now? We got to look out for the third. That's two big ones. They always go in threes, they say.
I think we just got those. I mean, it might be somebody we don't know about yet, or
that's right. It could be somebody's grandmama.
It could be.
Okay, I don't know what we're moving on to, but
go ahead. Take
I have to talk about. I had to play it for my son. He's 10 now, but this white man.
Hold on. Happy birthday to the young king.
Yeah.
His first week in 5th grade as well. We have to pause for the young king. Okay, let's go.
It was like
yes.
I'm just like beaming. Wow. He's so awesome.
He's
I love that guy. But this fucking middle-aged white dude in a suit shirt and pants, slacks at the airport was getting hemmed up by the police. Like 4 officers holding his hands back. I don't know what the fuck he did. He's going down and he's like, "Don't you be rough with me." don't you be rough. And then as they wrestle him to the ground, and look at what they're doing to me. Do you guys see this? Because he's in the middle of the airport. And then he says, "You're treating me like a fucking black person."
He scores. He says what we have all known. And everybody who was black on the planet said, somebody finally said it.
It's not just these fucking white people. That's some shit that like a Candace Taylor or whatever her fucking name, a Stacey Dash, where they're like, this is not everybody. These are isolated incidents. This white dude knows, and he just said it, and that shit went viral. Because everyone knows that a white person and a black person can commit the same crime, but they will be treated differently in their arrest and their prosecution and their sentencing. So I showed my 10-year-old. I was like, look, if that was a black person, he might be dead. I had to be really fucking real with him. And
was it an airport?
Yes.
Oh, you'd have been 100%.
This is why he knows. That's why he said that. Because as a white man, he's like, why are you doing this to me? And then I told him how when that fucking jerk, despicable human being Dylan Roof shot up that AME church.
Savage.
And they caught him. They took that motherfucker to Burger King. Okay? Yeah. But Philando Castile wasn't even driving, didn't even commit a crime. Okay, fine. I mean, even the people that are like, he was doing something illegal, that's not applicable here. He was just sitting, being honest, respectful, communicating, doing what he's legally obligated to do, and was shot down. So that's why this video was so important for me to share, because it's more proof. We're getting these opportunities, as tragic and as painful and devastating as they are. We are continually getting these pieces of evidence that we can use to continue to back up our claim and move towards social justice and get more people involved to say this is not right. Because now, what is it like, they came for the Jews and I didn't speak up, and they came for the Mexicans and I didn't say shit. Yes. And then finally they came to me and there was no one to help me or whatever.
There you go.
So they coming for straight white men who look like they got money.
Got you.
I have no problem with this.
What did I just say? They're coming for straight white men who look like they got money. Is that not Donald Trump? Is that not Paul Manafort? Is that not Michael Cohen? We coming for their ass.
That's right.
It's all coming
down.
The
internet
Fuck
is
the
definitely
patriarchy.
pulling back the curtain on a lot of things right now. So it's.
Well, let me tell you something I'm totally against.
To go through these things in order for things to evolve,
Let me tell you something I'm totally against. It's hardworking teachers who don't get paid enough, who don't get benefits, and they need to relax. And
maybe she's trying to make money to go to medical school.
No, she's not dancing at a club, honey. You're just judging a picture by its cover.
Okay,
she's a full. What are we talking about? We are talking about a 6th grade teacher who happens to like to come home.
She has a pole dancing video.
I did hear about that. And
she has a pole dancing video at home.
It's just her doing her own thing?
She's like in a pole dancing class, and she has it at home, and she's a self-taught pole dancer, and she uses the activity to unwind in her home after a long day of teaching. She is spending money.
That's how I feel I can express myself and have time for myself.
Listen.
That's how I stay in shape.
And they fired this woman after she had a class, after she had a room number, all this stuff. Like, we got that many good teachers.
She's very qualified.
That many dedicated teachers.
Yeah.
That we can just go ahead and fire them because they preferred activity.
Oh, said she's suspended.
Oh, I'm sorry, suspended.
Yeah, I think she's just suspended, but even so,
either way, why?
Wait, how did the video get leaked?
Over something.
She's not doing it. Yeah, sorry.
They're treating her like she's a stripper.
Yeah, that's why I thought that.
She posted the video of herself on her private Facebook page.
Like that.
Yeah, she posted the video.
She's not.
Oh yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right.
Not if you haven't put that policy out.
North Carolina fucking up, man.
That's not in the handbook.
North Carolina's fucking up. Virginia's doing pretty good right now in terms of the purple to blue transition, but North Carolina's still kind of resistant. I mean, it's coming, but So here's another great one. This is one that just warms your heart. So a black father was holding his 2-month-old baby, and this is a video, of course, because everything is on videotape. In a Westland, Michigan community, when the police decided to shock him with a taser with several volts of electricity while he was holding his baby because he was allegedly being aggressive and uncooperative when the police approached. The thing is, you want to understand, is that this man was not committing a crime at the time, nor was he a suspect of a crime, nor was he under a warrant for a crime. He was merely at a party, getting crunk, as we said in the early 2000s, getting lit, as they say nowadays. When somebody called and said it was noisy. And so the police came and they tased him. Oh, he does have a bunch of warrants. I'm sorry, he did have a bunch of warrants.
Why didn't he give the baby to the mom? I do wish he had did that.
I do wish he would have given
the
baby.
Police were like, get a baby. Well, thankfully she caught the baby. When
I love how the stories,
child fell,
but you know what though? I do love black media. I do love black media though. I'm reading this off. This is kind of fun. I'm reading this off the Griot. Okay, so this is like revealing how journalism exposes its bias. And I'm not mad, but like everything in the first like 17 paragraphs is about how fucked up, police brutality is, and how he was holding his baby, and it was all, this is all fucked up. And then the last 2 paragraphs would be like, yeah, and he did have multiple outstanding warrants.
we flip it backwards. We put the bad news on the back end. That's right.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry.
Multiple outstanding warrants.
Oh yeah. By the way, he did have a few transgressions in the past. Storyline.
we not all respected.
Somebody didn't sit right with me on that one. I was like, I don't know if I could just come out and defend this guy.
We not
it must be kind of serious if they tase him with the baby. I mean, that's not right. But I'm like, there wasn't no time to hand the baby off. What's up?
No, we don't care about that car he stole. Let's talk about how his human rights were violated.
I'm just saying, we not respectability politics too much to not understand the circumstances.
The baby not even his.
But I'm just saying,
not have kidnapped
the Griot published 10 paragraphs of details. He going on the last 2.
Last paragraph said he had 5 warrants. He might have shot somebody.
P.S.
But we ain't talking about that.
And we keeping him in prayer. We keeping him in prayer. We know Lil Marcus and them, they good boys. He ain't mean that. Black people so forgiving. Forgiving.
Hey, but it's like, I get it. It's like, if black people don't forgive you, who gonna forgive you? If black people
that's what I've always been saying.
It's the same thing with Omarosa. If black people not gonna forgive her, who gonna forgive her?
Listen, I feel the same. I'm like, look, if there's motherfuckers out there legitimately marching for murderers, because they are. Look, if you out there, if you out there marching for Mumia Abu-Jamal, and I don't think he killed them police officers, but I could understand if he did. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about that. But if you out there defending drug dealers and murderers and rapists and shit, I'm like, come on, man. Political unorthodoxy cannot be the goddamn banishment point. That is just cannot be reality. That just can't be the reality living in. And I'm not saying I like Omarosa and no shit like that. I'm just saying recalibrate and compare this to all the other things that could actually be going on.
I think also it speaks a lot to
Indeed.
the U.S. culture of punishment as some sort of reform. You know how you always go back to that like Himsa tribe where they surround the transgressor and they sing his birth song.
Yes.
And they pour love into him. We don't have any system for that.
Fucking correspondence shit like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Much less on any coordinated level. If you're lucky, you got a good mom and dad and family and maybe some friends. But there is no community that affects the society you live in to offer that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is unfortunate.
It is. Jeffrey Dennis was identified as a black man shot and killed by Northeast Philadelphia police.
Oh gosh, no more catching hell.
I'm sorry. He is identified. He's a 34-year-old Jeffrey Dennis who was survived by his fiancee and 3 minor children. Investigators say plainclothes officers from the Northeast Narcotics Field Unit had been tracking Dennis all day throughout the neighborhood when they boxed him in, approaching his car to serve a warrant. One officer was then allegedly struck with the car in the knee and hip, while another officer subsequently fired 3 rounds into the car, killing Dennis. Only one officer sustained injuries, but all are expected to be fine. Again, my point in some of these stories, which also the Griot, is that I just love the fact that even though this motherfucker was obviously doing a Fast and Furious getaway chase, what we gonna start with, what we gonna first recognize is the babies and the fiance that were left alone, and I just think that there's I don't know, what I'm trying to get at is that I think that there is a deep emotional, visceral need amongst black people clearly for care, that our media would be doing that, because we are telling the facts too. I mean, all the bad shit is in the stories, but it's clear that we are starting the stories off in a sort of counter programming way to be like, here's the human story behind this shit.
Well, that's how the white media does.
That's how they do it. Thank you, Mel. Thank you. That's how they do it.
Son, he was a good father. He was a son.
That's right.
Yeah, but he still shot all of those people in that theater.
He did. He killed all of them dead. He was the best drug dealer in West Baltimore.
Yeah. He was quiet. He never bothered anyone. You know, I can't believe this happened.
That's right. That's right. Protests erupt in Chicago over the death of a 15-year-old black boy who police say shot himself. Because we know that's what little black boys do. Over 120 people protested in Chicago on last Sunday over the death of a 15-year-old black boy who died from a gunshot wound to the head that cops claim was self-inflicted. Police say they stopped Steven Rosenthal on Friday over the teen holding a handgun. Police allege they chased the teen after he ran away from them and that he shot himself in his home's stairwell. That sounds so believable. That sounds like what a teen would do, that they would run and shoot themselves in the head, as opposed to thinking they would just
grandma's apartment.
As opposed to thinking they would just go to fucking juvie or whatever the fuck, or just do a bid, or just go in. Yeah, I mean, like, okay.
I don't have any words over that one.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Well, there's a crazy motherfucking white racist in Long Beach. You read about that one? Just shot and killed a random black dude.
I can't even keep up. I can't even keep up anymore.
Sadly, we get so many of these stories, we can't even just sift through. We're just like, which one?
Well, here's a bit lighter. We can lighten up a little bit. There was a black child who was expelled over her hairstyle, which was apparently braids. Louisiana was showing out its racist ass when a video, because everything is on videotape, a black child being expelled from her school over a hairstyle. Officials at Christ the King are under fire for telling a middle schooler that her extensions, aka braids, were unnatural. That sounds like some borderline Hotep shit. I'm not even sure if that is some racist or some black Hotep Christian type of shit. Do you see? I'm looking for some.
All these things.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's also reminds me of Hampton University, which in the business school still doesn't allow black men to have dreadlocks. If you are a business student in Hampton University, kind of ridiculous. Anyway.
There's a lot of different places that still do that, white, black, and otherwise. They still do it. Even within the corporate world, they still have some companies that are not very open to more liberal or more culturally focused types of hairstyles. It's stupid, but it's a reality.
I know, because I wear my hair in like crazy bobo dreadlocks, and I navigate the highest echelons of advertising and marketing with no problem. I don't see what they do.
You know what I found is it's bigger. Yeah, your bigger cities and stuff like your New Yorks, your LAs, and of course now Atlanta, you're able to do that. But some of your places like, say, a Hampton Roads or maybe even a Richmond or something like that. You may get some resistance in different areas, but your bigger cities, they seem to be a little bit more accepting of it. Like in Atlanta, I mean, it's whatever, it's part of whatever. And I'm sure in Los Angeles, it's the same thing. New York, I mean, God,
I see what you're doing. No, I see what you're doing now. You're saying we should move to Atlanta, not Richmond. I get it. I totally understand.
You guys are allowed to move here, but for everyone else, we've been trained to say Atlanta is full.
I have heard that. I've heard that where they're like, no, nobody else should move to Atlanta.
Full. In fact, you talk to anybody in Atlanta, be like, oh, you moving here? Be like, listen, won't you try Charlotte? Charlotte's cool.
It's only 3 hours away.
But you two are welcome to come to Atlanta. Y'all are totally welcome. Bring the whole family.
Funny.
You're welcome.
That's funny. Okay, let's really lighten up, and then we'll start to close this out. N.K. Jemisin is one of my favorite authors, and she's a lot of people's favorite author because she is the writer of the Broken Earth trilogy, and she has the rare distinction of not only being one of the few black women to win a Hugo Award, but she has won it back to fucking back for every installment of the trilogy. She is basically the Beyonce of science fiction right now, and she has got the racist alt-right sci-fi trolls mad AF.
Well, that sounds like a good day.
It's a wonderful thing. I just want to say that. The first ever three-peat. I mean, I don't even know if these words have ever been written. Has anyone ever had a three-peat? It's not clear from this article. But she has a three-peat of the
sports, yes, but
but this is sci-fi. This is
not ever for each book in one trilogy. Like, it's not like she's written all these books and she's won it over a 20-year span.
Right.
It was back to back. The 3 books she wrote for this trilogy each won the award consecutively year after year.
Yeah, that's an amazing feat.
And I have read these books, and they are amazing. They are amazing. She is.
I love that. I you've mentioned it before, but I can't. I want to read it now.
She is the series in question has been optioned for a TV series, so it will probably be auditioning for a lot of black people soon. Which is always a wonderful thing. And so that is probably the best thing I've seen in a long time. Also, I almost hate to say this in the era of Trump, even though I know this is Obama's economy that we're still enjoying the last part of, black business ownership has increased by 400%.
What?
In 1 year in the U.S. Yes. Small business ownership among African Americans. This comes to us from Ebony. So this is a partisan magazine. They have no reason to lie to us. Small business ownership among African Americans has seen a 400% increase in the U.S. from 2017 to 2018. What? In a survey from the Minority 2018 Small Business Trends, 45% of small businesses were run by minority ethnic groups this year, with the largest group being African Americans at 19%. Hispanics made up 14%, Asians at 8%, and Native Americans at 4%. And I want to say, shout out to you all. Congratulations.
Let's do that.
Let's do this. Let's build the coalition of the Ascendant.
I know. Where's one of your clips? This is.
We need to keep rising up and doing it. In the last couple of years, I got some things official myself, so I am one within that particular account. Consulting business has been wonderful, and I must admit that entrepreneurship is truly the way that we will gain our foothold upon any type of freedom. So hearing this is nothing but inspirational to me and others that do what we do. Shout out to all you business owners.
Yeah.
Get it.
Hey, man. You know what we do around here when we appreciate something?
I think it pisses God off if you walk by the color purple in a field and don't notice it.
That's all we saying. Exactly. So it's purple, y'all. That's very, very purple. That's very, very purple.
That's such good news right there. That's
wonderful. Second runner-up is Simone Biles. Biles? Am I pronouncing that right?
Biles, I think it is.
Simone Biles wins gold in all 5 titles at national championships.
I love that she's still dominating. I am very thrilled by that. That means that she can go one more Olympics.
Boom. I can't wait to see
and
it.
she might win.
It's just putting
She's
all
still
that
at the top of her game.
out there
She's still
for
at
the
the top of
world
her
to see.
game.
I love it.
Yep.
So,
Good news only, please.
no, this is a quick one. This marks the 400. Ebony is going back to the Out in the Middle Passage. It's 61st Independence Day for Ghana. Sorry, I'm not saying that very well. It's Ghana's 61st Independence celebration. And in addition to that, it has been 400 years exactly since 1619, when the first documented enslaved Africans came to Jamestown, Virginia, where you have been, my love, because that is where Al and I grew up very close to.
Yeah, I was.
Very much
It
so.
made me a little uncomfortable, I must say.
It's a little freak.
Also,
It's not a pleasant place.
Also, it was like 1 a.m. I was like,
It's not a good place.
I didn't want to
whenever I cross
imagine.
that bridge, it's
Yeah,
always
I didn't
that.
like imagining being there.
It's a little
at
haunted.
night.
It's a little haunted.
It's the energy is there, and you know what? Even on that similar note, when we used to live in Alabama for like 1 year, I always used to tell Treese this so that I could just feel a certain energy as I was there. I'm not shitting on Alabama. I'm just saying I don't care what y'all say. What y'all say, damn it, I still felt all
Standing
of the civil
up for
rights
Alabama.
movement
I mean,
happened.
as someone who did not grow up there and is not really visited there, I feel like that's the whole South.
Yeah, it's a little bit true.
I feel like black people who don't grow up in the South,
It's a little bit-
certainly my perception of
Yes,
it.
it is.
And
The problem, you're
to
absolutely right.
some degree, my limited experience. of
You're
it.
absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right.
That's part of what you have to reckon with,
Because-
being from there or living there or passing through.
No, you're absolutely right. The thing is, you can't tell the good stuff about the South because it's all so interwoven with the bullshit. There's like nothing good about the South that you can say without being like, yeah, and that came from the town that nigga got whipped. And it's like, yes, that's true. That is absolutely true. It's delicious, but
I feel
it's
like,
sad.
I mean, and again, I
True,
really always
true,
want to go
true.
to Savannah, Georgia, because I've just seen images of the most beautiful trees I think I've ever could possibly see in my life, besides like the redwoods and sequoias we have here in California. But again, I'm not from there. I feel like while you appreciate its beauty, you're like, they hung people from trees like
wait
that.
till you see all the
You know what I mean?
monuments,
And
Mel.
then like had a picnic under its branches.
Wait till you live amongst the monuments where there's just every couple of blocks just a
I'm
white man on a
conflicted
horse.
here, like,
On a white man on a horse.
I saw them. You drove me.
Yeah.
You drove me on that
as
street.
said, like
in
every couple
Richmond.
blocks, you get a reminder of what used to be.
That's
Yeah,
right.
they
Or
just
what
tore
still-
down the statue at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
I'm gonna be honest, man.
Kids is not having it.
In
These kids is
retrospect,
like, you know what? That's some fuck shit.
in retrospect, I liked it because I'm a curmudgeon and I work better when I have a visible enemy to oppose. California is wonderful, but it is basically like nothing for me to do. Like there is no position that I can take that there is not someone out here who has a more radical, progressive position than I have. In Virginia, I'm probably the fucking most liberal goddamn motherfucker in the universe. You know what I'm saying? I'm it.
Yeah.
I'm the limit. I am the
You know
goddamn
what?
edge.
As I've said, bro, you and Mel are invited to Atlanta as well as the East Coast. So bring it on. Let's get
All
it.
right. So, and then lastly, but not leastly, this is a good one. New York becomes the first state to pass a bill holding prosecutors accountable for misconduct. Goddamn right.
We got to start somewhere, right? Somebody, the word accountable. Let's just let that
Checks
sink in.
and balance.
Is this still De Blasio?
Accountable.
Is
Yes,
this
De
still
Blasio.
under
Yes,
de
still Blasio.
Well,
Still
you know, his wife
Blasio.
is black.
Oh, and his son, and so are his children. Yes,
Yes, they
yes,
fucking
indeed.
are.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, they motherfucking are.
I think this is a step in the right direction. I hope the next step is some sort of penalty for white people calling the police on black people in public spaces.
Somebody introduced that bill.
For real.
I saw. I don't know if it was
man.
a state senator or what state, or if it was actually Congress, but someone introduced that there would be a
Wonderful.
fine.
That is wonderful.
Oh yeah,
That is wonderful.
it's about time. It has to happen because otherwise they
Yeah.
won't really stop doing it.
That is wonderful.
It should be like a $500,000 ticket per violation.
Or like some jail time, not just community service.
That's right. Paid directly to like the NAACP and Black Lives Matter.
Ooh,
Yeah, that'd be
I like
fantastic.
For real
That'd
though,
be
I like
fantastic.
everything
like it
about
like
that. That's
that.
not going to happen.
be
We can
good.
dream. We can dream though.
Let's
we can dream.
introduce that bill on like change.
California be the first one to pass that one.
Hell yeah.
All right. Man, it has been a fantastic time hanging out with you. Thank you for staying up so late. I know it's so late for you.
This is what we do. It's 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
This is what we do.
Ow. Dang.
Oh my God, you are crazy.
I love you.
Insane,
This was a
man.
wonderful conversation. I hope our listeners enjoyed it. Al, let our guests know where they can find you.
Yes, tell them about our other podcast, man. What's going on?
That's right. Well, again, as I talked about earlier on the podcast, this is the podcast that gave birth to our podcast, which is called We Come From Bad News. We've been around for about a year. Me and Yaze get up there and we talk music, we talk life, culture, and everything in between. We just did a nice little tribute to Aretha Franklin and some other things in our last episode. So please check us out. We talk about all kinds of fun stuff. We just 2 creatives, 2 husbands, 2 dads, just trying to figure it out. So I appreciate y'all having me on to hang out and talk about all kinds of wokeness and things like that. I got all my 45 situations out my soul. I'm ready to move on now. We can go back to Cardi B and all the other crazy stuff that we talk about on our side of the block now.
Yes, you gotta get it out. I firmly believe that.
That's right.
Everyone can check us out on all the interwebs, Stitcher,
Spotify,
excuse me, iTunes,
of course, SoundCloud, YouTube. Apparently,
What?
Yep, it uploads our shit to YouTube for some reason.
Leave a comment or a review, stars.
Yep,
something.
like us on Facebook, follow us on
We're
Facebook.
on
That's
the
probably the
Facebook,
easiest way to keep
Twitter,
up with us.
Instagram,
I
all
very
at Work
rarely
with Kids.
update the webpage anymore. I'm just very busy. This year I'm trying to get a promotion at work. I got a lot to do. I'm sorry. I love everybody, but we got things to do. We got these kids
On the move,
Totally
man.
got stuff to do.
They're great. Mel's working. We're all working. Everybody's just making money this year. This is the year of making money.
Paper, baby.
Yeah, man. It's time to do it. All right, guys. Hit me up at Nyaze, Nyaze, or at Woke with Kids, or whatever the fuck you want to do. I don't give a fuck.
Send me a little line at Melissa K. Anderson on Instagram or at Melissa K. Says on Twitter.
That's right. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. I have not checked in a couple of weeks because I am leaving up to the grace of God that you motherfuckers, these hundreds of people who are listening to this.
Yo,
I need just one of y'all. I just need one of y'all to be touched right now by the sound and urgency in my voice to go to iTunes, Stitcher, or any place you feel like it, and just telling how much you love to listen to us, because that is literally the entire currency that we are doing this for currently right now, except for alerting y'all motherfuckers that there is a lot of horrible shit that is happening, and you know that already. Other than that, it's just our personalities, our heart, our blood, our sweat, our tears, our time, our passion, okay? Our emotional labor. So go ahead and leave a goddamn motherfucking
They're giving
review.
you a gift of good energy, good knowledge.
That's
man.
right. And thank you for listening. And I appreciate you listening. I really do. We really appreciate you.
Yes, we do. You basically keep us going.
Yes, indeed.
Thank all of you for your support.
Yes.
All right,
y'all.
Till next time, stay woke, y'all.
Peace.
Take care.